I stand here today celebrating my 30th year in nonprofits in New Hampshire, as a donor, as a staff member, as a board member, as a volunteer. And my current job with the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, I think you can imagine, I see a few nonprofits. We fund 4,000 nonprofits every year at the foundation. And this is across every interest area in the state: arts and the environment and education and civic engagement and kids, and the list goes on and on. And it may not surprise you to hear that not all those nonprofits are run, are governed, are managed the way that you'd like them to be. This one exhibits, and I don't say this lightly, this one exhibits all of the hallmarks that we like to see in these critical, independent, charitable organizations that keep this state knitted together. So what do I mean by that? It doesn't just happen, to Ben's point, it's all about the people, and specifically it's about the board of directors. You want to find one common element to truly effective nonprofit organizations. It's the continuity and the skill and the passion and the insights of the board of directors, board of trustees in our language for the Conservancy. Yeah, staff plays a role, but guess what? What is the board's most important role? Find the right executive director and then support them. That's really fundamentally the role. If you don't like what they're doing, you find another one. So even that most important role comes to the board. So I want to share a few thoughts about this. It starts with a compelling, a simple, and a clear mission. And that's what Betsy Harris, Abe Wolf, Bruce McClellan, the founders of this organization, started with, and the board hasn't mussed with it. It still works. Second is superb governance. We leave behind too often, in our excitement about nonprofits and achieving the mission and getting that next dollar and getting that next acre or getting that next kid educated, whatever it is, we leave behind the importance of governance. This board, in my experience, working for this board for 6 years, is second to none in New Hampshire. You could take the Board of Trustees of the Monadnock Conservancy and easily sit that board in the boardroom of New Hampshire Public Radio, of the University System of New Hampshire. Pick your big charitable or educational institution. The board I reported to could easily run those big institutions. And I think of Phil Faulkner, and I think of Diane Schott, and I think of so many of you who understood their first job, good governors of the nonprofit. Next, financial health and transparency. There was this rule when I came to the Conservancy. We raise the money first, then we spend it. You don't come up with a good idea and start spending the money and then hope you can, spending it and then hope you can raise it. You raise it first. And for that, I think of John Hoffman, I think of Jenny Norman, I think of John Kiley, I think of the treasurers, the stewards of the financial health. Next, board members need to know how to ask the right questions and ask them in the right way to build a true partnership with their professional staff. This board has always done that. And in that, of all the people who did that really well, Carol Thompson stands out. Always asking the right question at the right time in the right way to advance the mission. So you can't do this work unless you get out and you experience the mission on the ground. You can't be removed to it. And for that, I think of Tom Dustin. I think of the first time I met Tom. He walked into the office in shorts and hiking boots and a T-shirt and basically said, get out of this office, let's go for a walk and talk about what this organization is about. And I think about this fantastic tradition, and I hope it continues, that the Lands Committee, every Wednesday morning once a month, 8 a.m., you show up and you spend a few hours in the woods, you meet the landowners, you touch the mission. That's what makes this work. I think about long-term thinking, stewardship for the long term. And those of you who are easement monitors, those of you who are volunteers and donors and board members, of course, taking care of the land long-term is at the heart of your mission, but you're doing something more than that. In an increasingly short-term world where our economic cycles, our political cycles become bogglingly short. We have an attention deficit world. You are talking about permanent promise in a short-term world. That really matters. It matters more than taking care of the land itself. You're saying, we're going to be here a generation or two or three from now. You're connected to community, the town reps program. Way too many nonprofits think they can figure all this out by sitting in a boardroom and the staff and figure out the problem. The town reps program, and again, the easement monitor program. The final quality of a successful, healthy nonprofit is leadership. So this was not only the first land trust in New Hampshire to be accredited by the Land Trust Alliance, it was the second in the country. Think of this. There are, how many, Ryan? 1,200, 1,800 land trusts? 1,700 land trusts in America. Ours was the second to receive national accreditation as a qualified land trust, and that is not an easy designation. Ryan is now the chairman of the New Hampshire Land Trust Coalition, leading our land trust community in New Hampshire to think about what's next for this terrific work. That new thinking, which you're going to hear a whole lot more about in a few minutes from my friend of 25 years, Peter Forbes. So, two other final thoughts. Simply, congratulations to everyone on the 25th anniversary. And when I'm at the point I'm starting to think back on my 30 years and what really sticks out in those 30 years, one that will always stick with me is having the sense to pull out of a stack of about 80 resumes the best damn cover letter I have ever seen written by the guy who became my successor, Ryan Owens. Thank you.